this is your wheelhouse right here, right? And I need to know how you feel. I feel this is a setup coming. So it says this came on the other day in the Daily News. It said the CCRB chair resigns, blaming NYPD union campaign of lies against him. So the interim chair of the CCRB board, or the CCRB, is resigning and says he is stepping down because a police union head smeared him as anti-cop and lied about his record. That person's name, Dr. Muhammad Khalid. He was on the CCRB board for 10 years during the Bloomberg administration. And now he resigns. We don't know who's going to take this position up, but this guy he's not a pro cop. I mean, this is the guy that resided over all those cases with you and numerous others that really, I'm going to bring up a case that was in front of him right after this. It has nothing to do with CCRB, yet they had this too. So what do you have to say about that? Because you know a lot more about CCRB than anyone else. This guy resigns, and who's going to take over? What's next?
So here's the concern with CCRB. It's an investigative agency that has turned into a political agency. And the bias, an extreme amount of bias and disdain compromised, and amongst those that are comprised of who works there and does these investigations. The problem is that, and even under Kelly, CCRB was given their authority to prosecute their own cases, right? So they actually have an attorney that will prosecute their own case. But now not only will they prosecute their own cases, but they'll have final discipline. So it almost doesn't make sense, right? So they're going to do the investigation. They're going to prosecute the case. And the same case that they're prosecuting, they're now going to make the final say and determination. So if they're bringing evidence, what they believe is evidence, and they're prosecuting the case, so of course they're going to have final discipline. We're going to see that police officers will be terminated because that discipline matrix is very easy to terminate police officers using aggravating factors. And anything could be aggravating factors. The fact that you're a police officer is an aggravating factor. That means that you have experience and you should know better. And the problem is, as a political agency, not necessarily as an investigative agency, when they investigate these cases, the CCRB, and they actually testified at city council that they interpreted evidence in the way that they see it. And so the only way we have to tip the scale right now, and even the police commissioner has testified numerous times, going down to Key Chan Sewell, in very few cases do they deviate, but sometimes they do deviate. And now if they have no authority to deviate from a case, these cases can be interpreted in any way the CCRB wants. Remember, the patrol guide is exactly that. It's a patrol guide, and where the CCRB manipulates NYPD policy to fit their case, if they're reverse engineered, this can only get worse.
And Hard Core brings this up because he said this yesterday too. I saw him and he commented on this show, the preview of it. He said right here, it says people seem to have those rose-colored glasses on for CCRB currently as it is, as if it's on the level and Mamdani's going to make it horrible. Newsflash. CCRB, 90% and above conviction rate. Joe Fox, the illustrious Joe Fox, that takes 1 billion pictures with cops out there everywhere, 60% conviction rate. So my thing to you is now you're going to have he's going to put new people in. Now you got to find a new head of CCRB. Does this get better, worse, status quo under Mayor Mamdani? Because you got to worry about, there's a lot of future cases coming off of this whole Kaz Daughtry, John Shell era, CRT team. You know it's coming. You know this stuff is coming. What happens now to all these cops?
Well, let's use a case in point right now, right? We have the Wynn Rosario case. And what case is that? Where two police officers, in this case should never even met fruition at all. Two police officers were challenged and confronted with an armed perpetrator with a pair of scissors in close proximity in a kitchen. And unfortunately, it led to the police officers having to use their firearm. And now that case, they were cleared on charges, numerous cases of oversight, and now they have to face the Civilian Complaint Review Board. And because it could be seen as a potential crime, and it doesn't have to be you convicted of a crime, that extends the statute of limitations on CCRB. So now, obviously, this case will probably go into Zohran Mamdani being elected. If CCRB has the final say, those police officers could get terminated for doing everything right because of the CCRB under Zohran Mamdani that will have full authority. Now, I said there are a few cases and cases that are rare where the police commissioner actually deviates from the final say of the Civilian Complaint Review Board or a trial with an administrative judge at the NYPD. But that would be one of those cases where we need the police commissioner to deviate. And in this case, I don't have too many hopes for it.
The soccer mom, Jessica Tisch, she could have a say here if she rules either for or against this, because obviously she could terminate Rosario, both cops on the spot, right? So she is vying for this position. You hear it everywhere. It's pathetic that they want to keep this soccer mom around. She has not done anything. Crime is not down. No, when they shoot someone, unless the bullet hits a human being, they don't count it. There's shootings everywhere. The crime numbers are down. I don't care who they have on here. What is a former disgraced chief of department saying? The guy was a major cause of people. The mass exodus in the NYPD is because of that person. Okay, so don't take what they just laugh at when you see him and say, give the money back you're taking with your 3/4 BS injury. But these are the things that you keep hearing. There's a million articles out there. Jessica Tisch, crime fighter, all this nonsense. Yet I believe if she says Rosario's guilty, she keeps her job. Does that mean she's playing ball? If she kicks the can down the road, that means she's not going to do it. She's leaving. Or she says this would be a testament to her. If she says a big F you and says, I don't find them not guilty, and walks out saying that. What do you think happens there? Because I think this is hanging over her head, that they want her to put those two cops, say they're guilty, and cost them everything and make like a political hit job on it.
So I spoke about this yesterday. John and I spoke about this. What's the most important thing for the NYPD to succeed right now, even under Zohran Mamdani? And that's morale. And morale is this little ball that we could hold on to, and it's everything else that penetrates it. Salary is not important to police officers. Conditions, right? Harsh conditions, precincts that are kind of decimated. Even the gun range, right? It's a terrible place to go to, right? But if morale is strong and morale is good, then these things cannot penetrate. And even the effects of CCRB and oversight. But because morale is so low, these things do penetrate it. And why is morale low? Because of things like this. This case is already an epic fail. And it's a failure on Jessica Tisch as police commissioner. This should have been dismissed without prejudice. This case should have been already dismissed. The police officers faced enough oversight. And that destroys morale. The fact that they're going to allow this to actually play out and be prosecuted at administrative trial with the NYPD is absolutely ridiculous. And it's an insult to every police officer with their boots on the ground, especially Jessica Tisch, who never had to wear the uniform and face an armed perpetrator in close proximity in a kitchen with a knife or scissor or any sharp wedge weapon. Any sharp wedge weapon could kill you. This is absolutely ridiculous. So this should have been dismissed immediately. So if she does not dismiss this case, which she hasn't done already, she's already done the failure to the cops and to the public. Because if the cops can't help you in a situation where you're faced with an edge weapon, then nobody can.
I agree with you. I don't know why, but again, it's just they're going to use this as a political football, and they're afraid to make a decision, especially her, And so there's two comments here that one's hysterical. Snake Plissken said WABC wants her staying on. She's going to stay on. That is hysterical. Yeah. WABC radio is telling you who to vote for. And, the number one radio host, I'm the number one. And that guy, more than likely, Mamdani will be on that show. I'm telling you, you're going to see it. It's coming in the near future. They're just waiting for the day to lay this out on you. But 92 Charlie said this, and his comment is exactly what I'm trying to, I'm asking you, Eric, what exactly has the soccer mom done for the NYPD? I don't get why everyone is supporting her to stay on. What do you say, Eric? Everywhere you look, this is the rhetoric. Yet, what has she done? What has the soccer mom, Jessica Tisch, done for the New York City Police Department? She's such a great crime fighter. Can you explain this to me?
One thing I learned about political authority is that money seems to be the most important thing, because it seems the left loves Jessica Tisch and the right love Jessica Tisch. Yet she's never worn the uniform. And if anything, morale has not gotten any better. And nepotism and cronyism, if anything, might have gotten even worse under Jessica Tisch. I think it's a complete disaster, but people love money. The fact that she's a billionaire heiress and she could actually move chess pieces has created her and put her in a position right in the middle where she's loved by the left and loved by the right. And Maul and I talk about it often, especially the elites. The elites love her. But she hasn't done anything to make the police department better, which ultimately corresponds and collaborates with how the city responds. So she hasn't done anything to make it better. This is a complete insult to every police officer, especially the fact that she should be honored that she's in this position and never had to wear the uniform. These police officers should not be in this position. And I think Chicken Wing said it earlier. There's an off-duty police officer about 10 years ago who's still facing a civilian complaint at this point and could potentially lose his job for a case that happened almost 10 years ago. Almost 10 years ago off duty. So keep that in mind to the active police officers out there right now. When you're off duty, God forbid you're in a situation and it's considered you're now on duty taking police action, the Civilian Complaint Review Board will come down on you just as much as you were wearing the uniform at work. So keep that in mind. So police officers have a heavy toll and they bear a lot on their shoulders. And the Civilian Complaint Review Board is full of bias in the state. And again, I'll say it. It's no longer an investigative agency. It's a political agency.
That's going to be the crowning jewel moment, by the way. I was going to bring this up. But before I bring up that what you just talked about, Joe Ramirez says the Tisch family over the past 6 months, the family contributed over $1.3 million to fix the city, a super PAC focused on opposing the mayoral candidacy of Zohran Mamdani. That's how hard this family wants this woman to stay. I can't find the one thing that says here's a defining moment for the soccer mom. Corruption has flourished. She's doing crazy things, terminating people. Because, you know, as John McCarthy said it best, it's like, oh, who's this peasant coming to me? You need to be terminated. You know, you're not bringing my hors d'oeuvres into the room. Like that's what we're getting with this woman. Like, I don't know if people see that. She's a billionaire who expects you when she says jump, say, how high, ma'am? You don't do that, you're gone. Like, that's what she's doing. I don't know if people see this or not, you know? And then here's another one. Jeff Smith says, Mamdani said he still hasn't had discussions with Tisch about staying on. What's taking so long? I think he's waiting for her to resign before Adams is done. The ideologies do differ. But she doesn't have one, Jeff. That's trying to tell you. She's not a cop. She never was. She's for the surveillance state, by the way. She loves surveillance. Loves it. She's all for, you know, all this surveillance stuff. She brings in all this technology. Not even ideology-wise with the two of them. She's got her own agenda, and her agenda lines up with other people, and it's just this guy's agenda, whatever it may be, probably the people behind him are not the same people behind her. Like, they don't see it like this. So she's not, and also she brings the morale of the police department down. Nobody wants her there. People are terrified in One Police Plaza. I'm telling you, they hate her. I know she watches this. Jessica, they hate you there, okay? I know this. They hate you. So you're not well liked because you're out of touch. You're out of touch with the people you work with because you operate on a different level because of, you know, your stature in life. You believe you're better than other people because you're worth more than other people. That's not how this works, especially when you're working for a city agency. A city agency.